Hi guys, here's an article that I haven't seen anybody report on. It's from the Portland Mercury at portlandmercury.com. 2 states, one chaotic day by Doug Brown. As Donald Trump Jr. trolls Portland Antifa, a Confederate flag-adorned truck nearly plows through them. The Portland area was again one of the country's main hubs for political turmoil on Sunday. What they mean is Antifa was out in full force. Portland Mercury leans on the liberal side. Local demonstrations caught national heat for a day that included both a Trump supporter nearly plowing through protesters with his American and Confederate flag-adorned pickup truck, and the president's adult son taking to Twitter to rail against Portland anti-fascists, whom he accused of starting a riot. Patriot Prayer, the Southwest Washington far-right group, led by activist Joey Gibson, whose free speech rallies attract white supremacists, white nationalists, bigoted street preachers, and regular Republicans, has a knack for stirring up opposition. This week was no exception. Sunday marked the first local Patriot Prayer event since a white supremacist march in Charlottesville, Virginia, where a 20-year-old racist rammed his car into a crowd of protesters, killing one and injuring many. I guess they didn't get the message that the 20-year-old racist was white and so was the woman they hit. But anyway, it was also the group's first local rally since Gibson and a few other far-right demonstrators were assaulted during a rally in Berkeley, California, a clash that resulted in greater demonization of the anti-fascist or Antifa movement in right-wing circles and the media in general. The interesting part there is they're noting that the media in general is demonizing the anti-fascist Antifa. Sunday's event came with dark foreshadowing. A bigoted street preacher and Patriot Prayer supporter wrote on Facebook that rallies will inevitably have bloodshed and peace has never been an option. Things didn't turn out quite so grimly. Around noon on Sunday, hundreds of protesters headed to the waterfront to confront and jeer at Patriot Prayer supporters. Why they couldn't just go on about their business, I'll never know. But we are talking about Portland leftists here. Only about a dozen of the right-wing activists showed up the night before. Gibson decided not to rally in Portland and instead moved it to his home base of Vancouver. He made a similar move last month in the Bay Area, canceling a rally in San Francisco at the last minute before heading across the bay to Berkeley. The Patriot Prayer supporters were escorted by police officers in riot gear to a fenced-in area on the waterfront, surrounded by dozens of other police officers trying to keep protesters out. A few Antifa members pushed down a gate and briefly clashed with the officers there. Protesters clashed elsewhere downtown too, with cops arresting 7 people, pepper spraying many more, and setting off a less lethal grenade during a chaotic incident at Lonsdale Square. Some black-clad protesters, I wonder who those might be, set off smoke canisters and threw objects at the police. After the chaos downtown, many protesters and law enforcement officers headed north to the main Patriot Prayer rally at the Vancouver Landing Amphitheater. Lines of riot cops held back a couple hundred protesters from the dozens of right-wingers in attendance. Trouble broke out in downtown Vancouver. After the rally was finished and about 20 minutes before Trump Jr. sent his first tweet, a Patriot Prayer supporter with a Confederate flag tattoo and a Confederate flag on his massive pickup truck, which had Oregon plates, nearly plowed through into protesters and other drivers as he sped towards opposing traffic and through a red light. This would be the demon himself. The man identified online as Billy Wilson had been circling protesters downtown, stopped behind cars at a red light. A few protesters began throwing objects at his truck as they approached. Wilson quickly pulled into the opposing lane, floored it, and zoomed through the stoplight. An unmarked police car pulled him over immediately and cuffed him, but soon let him go with no charges or ticket. Lieutenant Kathy McNicholas of the Vancouver Police Department explained, "The preliminary information I've gotten is that he was in fear and was trying to leave the area because he was under attack. People surrounding the truck, damaging and throwing things." McNicholas says BPD officers let him go following the incident, but they're passing on the reports to prosecutors who will determine whether he'll face charges. I don't think even in a liberal area like Vancouver that they would make him face charges for not hurting anybody while he sped out of the way, because as we all know what Antifa protesters do, they break everything up, and it's well known. So he was trying to protect himself and his property. And notice that they have to liberally use the word nearly. He nearly rammed into him. He either did it or he didn't. But this is a liberal newspaper, and they really tried hard to A, stay objective, and B, they just couldn't resist getting those last little right-wingers this, and they nearly this, and blah, blah, blah. All in all, it was a fair report for a liberal news rag. I just thought you guys might be interested in this, so have a nice day.